I was walking down the street, feeling kind of neat, when the wind came out your butt and blew my wig off. Oh, it was a sight to see, my hair flying in the breeze, 'cause the wind came out your butt and blew my wig off. People started laughing, they couldn't believe their eyes as my wig flew through the sky. Oh, what a surprise. I tried to catch it, but it slipped right through my hands, 'cause the wind came out your butt and now it's somewhere in the land. Oh, wind came out your butt, blew my wig off. Baby, you drive like shit. Did you see the car that you almost hit? I'd rather take the bus instead. Riding with you, I'm gonna end up dead. Don't ask me if I need a lift. Baby, you drive like shit. She just ran through always stop. I ain't trying to get stopped by the cops. Baby, why the hell did I let you drive? It's a miracle that you're still alive. Don't ask me if I need a lift. Baby, you drive like shit. Oh, 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 oh. Look out, my girl is driving. Watch out, my girl drives like shit. Whoa, 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 whoa. My girl is driving. Watch out, my girl drives like shit. Heard you think you're tough. Gotta let you know I will fuck you up. I whoop that ass, talking all that shit, spank that ass till you tell like a bitch. No, I ain't playing. I'm here to kick ass. Whoop that ass. It's time to punch face. I'm the one who brings you pain in the ring. I whoop that ass until the bell rings. Already know that I do not play. Throw a punch like I'm cutting down hay. I whoop that ass every single night. Spank that ass till they stop the fight. I'll tell you the story of a man, a radioactive tip in his hand. His hand grew 10 times his normal size to help him get his money on time. He knew if the bitch was telling a lie, which was 100% of the time. Superpower to make a bitch listen, then get her naked with sex-ray vision. Keep a police station in a single bound, slapping bitches down to the fucking ground. His name was famous across the land. They called him the pimp named Superhand. Oh shit, yeah, pimp named Superhand. He had powers no other pimp had. Oh fuck yeah, pimp named Superhand. That motherfucker was Superman. Asking for dinner ain't asking for much. You had one job and still fucked it up. Sometimes you gotta learn respect. I use my gift hand to correct. It's called a bitch slap. Slap. Come get your face down. Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? So much so that you don't want to be around each other. No, before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate? You should ask yourself, who taught you to hate being what God made you?
Welcome back. Welcome back. Glad to have you in the building one more evening. I am your host, Scoop for Justice, here where we live, love, laugh, and conquer police brutality. And on tonight, we're going to go ahead and jump right on into the topic. So, as usual, get your popcorn, get your wine, get whatever you may need, stretch back, relax, and enjoy the show. All right, tonight we're in Texas, where a police officer knows that they have captured and arrested the wrong guy, but they refuse to let him go. Still lock him up anyway. So we're going to go ahead and jump on top of the content.
For a family violence warrant.
I'll explain. I know. Step out. I'll explain everything.
No, sir. Tell me why. I didn't give you permission to.
Right now, you are being detained. Come on and step out.
Hey, yeah, Pastor.
Come on and step out. Come on and step out. You're gonna get tased. Come on and step out. Come on and step out. Come on and step out. Come on and step out.
Bro,
Step out.
hold on, bro.
Come on and step out.
Come on, man.
Come on and step out. Come on and step out. Come on and step out.
All right, so what we're watching or witnessing, what we're discovering, the police just pulled this guy over. They haven't given him any answer, any reason to why they pulled him over, what's going on. They hadn't even asked him for his ID or identification. And they decide to just snatch him up out the car, step out the car, get out the car. He's trying to figure out what's what. And as you see, they physically attack him, going full blast. And it's like 3 of them, and we got 2 more coming on the scene. So we're in Texas tonight, and let's just unravel what's going to go down, step by step, play by play.
Calling on me for what? Hold on. Y'all, I didn't give you the permission. Bro, hold on. Hey, bro, this is my gun. Bro, this is my my
Officer Guab reaches inside the driver's side window, unlocks and opens the door, and orders Mr. Hayes to step out of the vehicle because he is being detained. When Mr. Hayes refuses to step out, the officers begin to pull on him, and Mr. Hayes remains seated in the vehicle. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, which has jurisdiction over Texas, has repeatedly held that the Fourth Amendment is implicated when a law enforcement officer reaches into a vehicle's interior space. For example, in the 1993 case of U.S. versus Riles, the Fifth Circuit concluded that a state trooper intruded inside a space that, under most circumstances, is protected by a legitimate expectation of privacy when he opened an individual's car door and stuck his head inside without a search warrant. More recently, the same court stated in the 2007 case of U.S. versus Meredith that, quote, opening a vehicle's door or piercing the interior airspace constitutes a search, and reasonable suspicion must exist prior.
All right, so as we just heard, and we always read the laws in writing according to each state. And so there in Texas, you have to have a search warrant to go into anyone's private inner space, home, property, vehicle, car, you name it. So we're seeing this. There has to be basically a search warrant, if not a warrant for your exact arrest.
to a search. Accordingly, the court would almost certainly determine that Officer Guab conducted a so-called search of Mr. Hayes' vehicle for purposes of the Fourth Amendment by reaching inside. Additionally, Section 38.03 of the Texas Penal Code states that an individual, quote, commits an offense if he intentionally prevents or obstructs a person he knows is a peace officer or a person acting in a peace officer's presence and at his direction from effecting an arrest, search, or transportation of the actor or another by using force against the peace officer or another. As we will discuss further later in this episode, while Mr. Hayes' mere refusal to exit the vehicle would not rise to the level of resisting under this statute, it is possible that a court could conclude that Mr. Hayes resisted the officers by pulling in the opposite direction in response to their attempts to remove him from the vehicle, although it is difficult to tell from the footage whether Mr. Hayes exerted any force to remain seated. Additionally, while Mr. Hayes did not appear to be under arrest at the time the officers attempted to remove him from the vehicle, it is possible the court could determine that Mr. Hayes obstructed the officers from transporting him. Further, Section 542.501 of the Texas Transportation Code states that, quote, a person may not willfully fail or refuse.
So right now, we just let the narrator give us some context according to the laws, according to what's in writing. So according to execution and orders. So that's what we're doing right now, just letting the narrative kind of just give us context and background.
Used to comply with a lawful order or direction of a police officer. And in the 2023 case of Garcia versus Bermea, the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Texas concluded that a reasonable officer could have determined that there was probable cause to arrest an individual for a violating of this statute when he failed to comply with multiple lawful commands to exit his vehicle. As we've discussed before on ATA, the Supreme Court has long held that officers may order individuals to exit their vehicles during a legitimate traffic stop without any additional suspicion being required. And as such, it is likely that a court would conclude the officers would have probable cause to arrest Mr. Hayes for refusing to step out of the vehicle if it found that the underlying stop was supported by at least reasonable suspicion of a traffic violation.
And so we always see that the narrator always gives examples and illustrations from past events, laws that have been taken into place, brought into play, brought into order. So we always want to reiterate that. So we can look at the laws, look at the codes, we can learn them, be aware, be informed. And so now that we witness an incident or interaction, we can discover what is violation, what's corruption, what's out of order, and what is being conducted in a wrong manner. All right, so we're going to get back to it. Here we go, folks.
What am I being detained for, man? Stop. What am I being detained for? If you let us tell you, we'll tell you. Shut up. Right now. What am I being detained for, man? Help! 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 Help!
So let's keep in mind, folks, he has no clue, no idea what's going on. They just got behind him, hit the lights, ran up on him, told him, get up out the car. He didn't jump out in 2-3 seconds. So they pulled him, snatched him out the car, and tackling him, wrestling him, ganging up on him. He has no clue, no idea what's going on, why they're detaining him, what they pulled him over for, absolutely nothing. So this is what's going down right now.
84 out with us as well. And start us with record, please.
I'm no felony. Get in the car. You're getting this because you're acting this way. This is 100%, and I'm not your. I know.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, because you're acting stupid.
You're acting what way? In what way? What are you talking about, dude? You hadn't told me anything. You hadn't showed anything in writing. You hadn't showed if there's a warrant for my arrest, and I think I would know that if it was. What acting in what manner? He's asking you, what's going on? Why are you all pulling me over? Why are you asking me to step out the car? And we got 5 of them, as we can see, 5-6 officers gang jumping this one man. And we have no clue what's what. This is total unorganized, out of order, disorder, already from the jump. So how's he acting? You tell me. I would want to know what the hell going on too.
Y'all don't even understand. Y'all in big trouble.
Go for it. I don't care.
Y'all in big trouble. You are under arrest.
After Mr. Hayes struggles against the officer's efforts to place him in the back seat of the vehicle, the officers put him in leg restraints and inform him that he is under arrest. Although it is unclear whether Mr. Hayes was under arrest when the officers originally attempted to place him in the police cruiser, his actions may have been sufficient to support a conviction for resisting under Section 38.03 of the Penal Code, which, as we discussed earlier in this episode, criminalizes intentionally preventing or obstructing a peace officer from, quote, effecting an arrest, search, or transportation of the actor or another by using force against the peace officer or another. In the 2014 case of Dobbs versus State, the Court of Criminal Appeals of Texas defined the phrase by using force against a peace officer or another as, quote, violence or physical aggression or an immediate threat thereof in the direction of and or into contact with or in opposition or hostility to a peace officer or another. Applying this definition in the 2016 case of Finley versus State, the same court affirmed a conviction for resisting against an individual who clenched up and pulled his arms away from arresting officers, ruling that this limited use of so-called force was sufficient to sustain a conviction. Accordingly, it is probable that a court would conclude that Mr.
You can't get them for resisting when you never had a warrant. You never had a reason to pull them over. And we're going to discover they have the wrong guy. They're finna see they have the wrong guy. They all are finna find out real quick. You have the wrong suspect. And then we're going to see how it's going to go down in the next move. What's the next move you finna bust? So there's no resisting arrest when there was no warrant. You have the wrong person, period. You have made a mistake. Now do your job as local officers and own it. So what do you all see? Engage, talk to me. What's going on in the moment according to the laws? We're here to divide and conquer.
Hayes' actions in struggling against the officer's attempts to put him in the police cruiser constituted resisting. Likewise, it is important to note that whether a transportation or arrest is unlawful is irrelevant in determining whether an individual resisted under Texas law, as the resisting statute specifically states that, now quoting, it is no defense to prosecution under this section that the arrest or search was unlawful. Although the statute only mentions the lawfulness of an arrest or search, courts have also applied this clause to resisting transportation charges. For instance, in the 2008 case of Clement versus State, the Second District Court of Appeals of Texas affirmed a resisting conviction where the jury instructions stated that, quote, our law provides that a person commits the offense of resisting arrest if she intentionally prevents or obstructs a person she knows is a peace officer from effecting arrest or transport of such person or another person by using force against the peace officer. It is no defense that the arrest or transportation was unlawful. As such, even if a court determined that the transportation or arrest of Mr. Hayes was illegal, he could still be convicted for resisting. However, it should also be recognized that Section 9.31 of the Texas Penal Code states that, quote, the use of force to resist an arrest or search is justified if, before the actor offers any resistance, the peace officer uses or attempts to use greater force than necessary to make the arrest or search, and when and to the degree the actor reasonably believes the force is immediately necessary to protect.
So y'all, he's just emphasizing on resisting arrest and how that charge can become about or what that exact act is. That's what the narrator's on right now. So we're going to go on down to the content a little further. And it should start back right up in here.
Necessary to arrest him.
All right, let's get him up.
All right.
Leg restraints are off. Ready? 1, 2, 3, up. Y'all are in big trouble, man. I can't even get up, man. Damn, man. He's out here doing it. Bro. He's out here. Scoop back. Scoop back. On your feet.
And this boy's right pocket. And he kept going like this too.
Now, I want us to take a look at this right here. She's just now running his ID. This officer right here is running the ID. So when they originally got behind him, ran his tag, followed him, hit the lights, snatched him out the car, slammed him to the ground, ganged up on him, and arrested him. Then they snatched his ID out of his wallet or his pocket And now they're running it. So you didn't get identification up front or first. And she's running the ID, and let's see, we're going to discover who this person really is.
You kept reaching.
No, I did not.
After running Mr. Hayes' driver's license through the Dallas Police Department's database, Officer Harris seems to realize that they have arrested the wrong Sylvester Hayes. In the 1971 case of Hill versus California, the Supreme Court upheld the constitutionality of an arrest of an individual that officers mistook for another individual, despite the arrestee's protestations of mistaken identity and his provision of identification showing he was not the suspect the officers were seeking, concluding that, now quoting the court, when the police have probable cause to arrest one party, and when they reasonably mistake a second party for the first party, then the arrest of the second party is a valid arrest. The court noted that although the officers' quote-unquote subjective good faith belief that they had arrested the right suspect would not in itself justify the arrest, quote, when judged in accordance with the factual and practical considerations of everyday life on which reasonable and prudent men act.
So I'm just going to reiterate. Now they realize they have arrested the wrong suspect. They have the wrong guy. So let's see how they react, what their conduct is, what their results is, and their behavior is behind it. What's the next move? Do they release them and let them go? Or do they go ahead and arrest him and take him into jail? And he's absolutely innocent. Let's take a look.
The arrest and subsequent search were reasonable and valid under the Fourth Amendment. Similarly, in the 2014 case of Hine versus North Carolina, the Supreme Court stated that, quote, to be reasonable is not to be perfect, and so the Fourth Amendment allows for some mistakes on the part of government officials, giving them fair leeway for enforcing the law in the community's protection. As such, the court also recognized that, now quoting again, searches and seizures based on mistakes of fact can be reasonable, and that, now quoting again, the limit is that the mistakes must be those of reasonable men. Although it may not seem particularly reasonable for the officers to assume that Mr. Hayes was the same Sylvester Hayes who was wanted on a family violence warrant without first checking the police database, particularly given the common nature of his first and last name in a city with a population as large as Dallas, courts have been generous in their interpretation of what constitutes a so-called reasonable mistake, as well as the steps officers should take to avoid them. For instance, in the 2020 case of Nerio versus Evans, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals found that officers who arrested an individual whom they mistook for his half-brother of the same name were entitled to qualified immunity. In reaching this conclusion, the court cited the 1979 case of Baker versus McCullen, in which the Supreme Court noted that the Constitution, now quoting, does not guarantee that only the guilty will be arrested, and that it does not require officials, now quoting again, to perform an error-free investigation of mistaken identity claims.
But I want to reiterate on what he just said. Only the guilty should be arrested. They're saying only the guilty would not be arrested. Only the guilty should be arrested, not the innocent. What are we doing?
Cullen case, the Supreme Court addressed the constitutionality of the arrest of an individual who was incorrectly identified as the person for whom the arrest warrant was issued. The court rejected the Fifth Circuit's holding that, quote, the sheriff or arresting officer has a duty to exercise due diligence in making sure that the person arrested and detained is actually the person sought under the warrant, and not merely someone of the same or a similar name. And
exactly, the actual person that should be sought on the warrant. So we're going to go on down to back to the content.
Prove that the officers violated the Constitution by arresting him.
I got 4 kids, man. I got 4 kids at the house, man.
Weston 380. Serial number is going to be.
That is my weapon. This is my name. That's my weapon. Is in my name. Bro, y'all doing this for no reason, man.
I came in late for everything.
The weapon he has a right to. He's registered. And actually, he's a security guard. Is required on his job what he does for a living. He's trying to work and get into law enforcement himself, as he reiterates. But at this point, the officers know they have the wrong guy, and they continue to arrest him. They literally did not release and let go. This is what we're witnessing, and they know they made a mistake to the fullest.
They handled me so rough, sir. I didn't give nobody no attitude or anything, sir. Like they say I failed failed the signal at the stop sign.
Stop sign?
I mean, I was wrong for that. Look how they handled me, so I didn't do anything that
Well,
deserved
there was
it.
a gun, right?
But I wasn't pulling. I told them I had a weapon. This is my name.
Okay.
If they run it, it's going to say Sylvester Hayes.
Okay. Mr. Hayes, there
Okay, you're talking about there was a gun, but there was no warrant. That's the issue at hand. There was no warrant for this man's arrest. So now you got to answer. You have to pay. You have to own it, and you have to answer to the fact. Your mistake on hand. Correct it, bro. Correct that thing. ASAP.
is another Sylvester Hayes, right? And that Sylvester Hayes does have a warrant.
I'm fighting for my life, man. I got 4 babies at the house, man. Like, I got a good job. I work security. I'm trying to be one of y'all, but like, your mama, this how y'all do. This how y'all do me. I'm working to be y'all, bro.
I do apologize. Like, if you feel like they roughed you up, or whatever, I do apologize.
So what is that about the gun?
So now the officer just admits to him that we're looking for a guy with your exact same name, with your first and your last name. Sylvester, I missed the last name. And lets him know that that's what's going on. We thought you were the guy we had a warrant for. And once we got your driver license or identification and actually ran your name, which was what they should have did up front. They should have did that from the start immediately when they first stopped him and pulled him over. Now they see they have the wrong person, and he's letting him know that. So why you have not released this guy? Why is he not released? You're looking for a reason to meet quota, to make an arrest. You're talking about a firearm that he's registered to have. Instead of doing your job correctly and releasing the innocent man and let him go.
So when y'all ran the serial number, what did it say?
When I ran it and you saw me run it, it came back clear. It's not stolen.
None of that, right? If they had their radio on, I was complaining, man. They had the camera on, I was complaining. They didn't even try to hear me, man.
Okay.
Another magazine.
Start doing traffic. She's running plates.
Okay.
Now they're illegally searching his car. You never had a warrant on this gentleman, but you're all in his car, all in his trunk, tearing it up into pieces. Everything is totally violation of your constitutional amendment rights and corruption of the law. They're doing what they want to do, not according to the rules, laws, guidelines, policy, procedures, and regulations. They think they're above the law because of a badge, when we again are here to enforce that law by setting the example. So share your thoughts, people. I'm always here listening to hear from you.
Like, hey, run that Hyundai, and it pops up red. She kind of looks at it, but by that time we had already lost him. As she's searching, the name that she put on there, whatever was on AIS, had continuous family violence, a warrant. And he fails to signal within 100 feet from the stop sign. We obviously pulled him over.
So you got the reason for contact.
Yeah. I was just like, you have your ID with you. And so he gives it to me, and I handed it over to her, and she's like, Sylvester Hayes, like that's the name that was under warrant. But
So you got a good warrant.
But you never actually looked at the ID and ran his name. You just listened to your rookie partner who says, oh, this is the guy we're looking for, that's his name, and automatically sees an arrest, sees a detainment. Instead of doing your job and actually running his name. That's the issue at hand.
well,
He does have tickets.
He does have
Okay.
the tickets.
So you got a jail traffic, resisting arrest, right?
Yeah, we have a little 400 feet. He had a gun in his pocket because he kept going like this. He kept,
Is it felon?
he has not been convicted. Or no felon?
No felon. But if he resisted, he resisted. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
he just
So we got
resisted.
him on that, right?
Yeah.
So that we're good. So yeah. So just find out.
The Lester ended up being like the third or something like that. But as soon as I saw the Lester Hayes, I was like, okay, just beat him out.
After realizing that they arrested the wrong Sylvester Hayes, the officers continued in their arrest of Mr. Hayes, and he was charged with resisting arrest and unlawful carrying of weapons, despite the
And that's the problem. Y'all, we got to do better. We got to learn to overcome. We have to learn to live, love, and laugh, and conquer police brutality. 1 second here. Adjusting the camera. And so, if he ran a stop sign, give him a ticket and let him be on his way. Release him. You have the wrong suspect. And that is the problem at hand. But no, you throw bogus charges on him about a registered gun that he has a right to own and resisting arrest when you never had a cause to arrest him in the first place. So we're here to live, love, laugh, and attack the corruption of the law and police brutality. And until next time, I am your host, School for Justice, where we will rise above the occasion and we will constantly speak truth to power. Until next time, folks, let's do it. Let's live, let's laugh, let's love, and let's conquer and divide. Salute.